So today's video may also ruffle some feathers or be an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but I wanted to share the topic of doing art for free and how it could be a good thing. So before some people start coming at me, I want to first clarify that if you are somebody who's being taken advantage of by a bigger studio or a business, of course that is not right. That is not what I'm trying to promote in today's video. So I first wanted to clarify that when a big studio or company just randomly asks you to do work for them for free, obviously question it and try to negotiate for something that you're worth. But the problem with a lot of big companies and studios making artists do work for free is that when artists accept these types of offers, it allows those bigger companies to continue using artists' work for free or low pay, and it might enable a bad habit and further contributes to the idea that artists are not worthy or worthy of equal or fair pay, which is why salary and pay transparency is really important. So I would highly recommend you check out these videos, which are the highest and lowest paying animation jobs for anyone who's at least in the animation industry who might want to know what is generally high or low, at least in the years of 2020 to 2023. But my argument for today's video is more about why you should do art for free, but for yourself. So in this day and age, the internet kind of makes it seem like you can just make money from anywhere at any time nowadays. Even as an artist, there are a lot more options being open to that path. However, I will also say that there's still an acceptance that needs to be had with the fact that to get to these stages where you're developing passive income or creating your first comic book ever, there's still a level of free work that needs to be made to make these opportunities possible. So there are instances where doing a lot of artwork without immediate compensation can eventually lead to greater rewards or benefits, such as a project of yours being made. So let's dive into that topic, but also keep in mind that this is not about allowing yourself to be taken advantage by larger corporations. So one of the first things you may benefit from doing free work is from collaborating with established artists or brands. So when you collaborate with another more well-established artist, this can eventually lead to more exposure and recognition, which is good for you. And I know that there's an argument out there that exists about why you shouldn't just do work for exposure, but usually when you are doing something in a collaboration, it usually is more helpful to know that the other artist is also collaborating with you. So they're not just doing something out of nowhere and just making you do stuff. They're also probably not getting paid, and maybe you guys can help each other out, and maybe you guys are already friends, or maybe you guys are already mutuals. There were a lot of times that me and my friend Noor used to make comics with each other just to help each other out because we're friends. And if you have an artist friend that is willing to collaborate with you, and maybe they might have a bigger following than you and they want to help you out if you are interested in growing your social media following, I don't see any wrong in artists collaborating with each other as long as it's mutually agreed upon and you just do your thing, you both create art, and hopefully you both benefit from it. And hopefully with this newfound exposure, it can eventually lead to new opportunities or paid projects with bigger studios or clients in the future. So doing work for free can also be a better investment for you and your personal projects, because sometimes artists choose to create art for free to pursue their personal passions or explore specific themes that they resonate with. Like when you were done with your regular 9-to-5 job, maybe there's a project you've been dying to do that tells the story about your upbringing or your background that you really want to share. So you might have to invest some time and energy in these projects during your off hours, but they could eventually lead to things like books, TV shows, games, music. So while there might not be an immediate financial gain for developing a pitch for a bigger project, there could be a larger reward in terms of compensation at the end of it, such as like a big advance payment or a TV show deal with a big studio. And there are a lot of unconventional ways that artists stay afloat that aren't a basic salary, such as these random big lump sums of payments. So the only caveat about that is that you might have to be better at managing your finances if you're not being paid consistently like a regular employee. But these endeavors can eventually help you create a name for yourself as an artist in the future that will eventually open you up to more opportunities like more book deals, more show deals, or more people or clients coming to you for your art with financial compensation. For example, there are things like starting a YouTube channel where initially you have a period of time where you're creating work absolutely for free, because not every channel that just starts out of nowhere will automatically be monetized. There will be a time period of you just doing free work before your stuff can start generating ad revenue or be approved for ads. So in order to get to that point, you will have to spend some time doing some videos for free and developing that audience. Things like Instagram for me as well, all of the comics I do on Instagram are pretty much for free. I have no direct compensation just for making a comic on Instagram. The only things that I may potentially gain from that are followers, views, likes that can help with my exposure as an artist on Instagram, and then maybe I can help direct that audience to other platforms like YouTube or my graphic novel. So if I do want to find a way to directly monetize the comics I make comics that I sell on my Etsy store in a physical form so that people can purchase a physical option if that's the way that they prefer reading them, but it also helps support me as an artist from after making like 400 comics for free. I think that the least I can do for myself is to create a product from them, and for those who want to purchase and support, they are able to do so. There are other things that you could be doing that will benefit yourself, but also others by doing art for free, which is contributing to nonprofits and community initiatives, because this can help you not only support causes that you believe in, but it will also allow you to use your talents for a greater purpose and build connections with people who are like-minded and share a similar passion in helping this cause. And when you engage in projects like these, you should of course do your proper research in the organization's credibility and ensure that your contribution is valued and respected. And while these projects are all nonprofit and for charity, you still have to set your boundaries as an artist and know, of course, there's going to be a time where, let's say you completed the work for this client. Maybe there's only one round of revisions needed, but if they're coming to you for 5 revisions after that, of course you have to put your foot down and make sure that that is clearly explicitly said in the contract, or if there's any agreement made prior to that. But again, I do think that there is a benefit to contributing to causes as an artist, because you do learn a lot and you gain a better understanding about certain parts of our society, and maybe that could be the voice behind your artwork or your reason for making art in the future, especially for those who are trying to find something with their art that they would like to contribute back to the world. So the next reason you might be having to create art for free is to improve your portfolio or to further develop your skills. So this is of course a no-brainer, but creating free artwork can be a strategic decision to enhance your portfolio, show your new techniques, or diversify your pre-existing body of work. And of course, when you do this, go in with a clear understanding of your own artistic goals and limits. You can't be spending your entire life just creating a new portfolio for free, because at some point you're gonna have to create a living for yourself. So you need to know when to put your foot down with making the portfolio and just submit that job application, even if it's not perfect. But you should spend this time creating art that is aligned with your interests and skill level, because when you apply to projects, you're going to be submitting an application that will hopefully align with the types of jobs out there, and you don't want to end up at a job that does not really suit your interests and you're stuck at it and you don't like it. So this is a time to really explore your artistic interests, watch movies and draw scenes from it, or even look at comic books and try to draw in those different styles. Or even for concept art, just try to draw things that are of your interest and spend this time drawing things that interest you and improve those skills, so that when you're applying to these job applications out there, you're not just submitting things for the sake of a random job that might eventually make you miserable, and hopefully it will be on a project that you like. So the reason why I say this is because there's going to be a lot of times where, let's say you've already done work for previous clients or studios, but maybe the work that you did for them is not stuff that you really enjoy doing. You might have been hired for a job that is like adult comedy, but you're not someone who genuinely enjoys adult comedy. Well then, for your professional section of your portfolio, you really only have adult comedy stuff to showcase in it, which is not something you want to do. So just because it's professional work you've already done, I think it's safe to say that you don't have to include it if that's not something you want to continue doing in the future. So that's when doing art for free, having to create this new set of work that is maybe based off of a project you've always had in your mind, might be more appropriate. So if you've always wanted to work on like a Disney film or something like that, you might have to scratch your previous professional work, just be glad that you got paid for it and just that's what it was good for, and set that portfolio aside until there's a reason that it needs to come out again, and focus on developing a new portfolio from scratch with your own personal ideas that might be better in alignment with future projects you want to be a part of. So one of the last reasons why it might be beneficial for you to do art for free is because you could be mentoring someone or really helping somebody else out in your art community. So teaching is something that you can be paid for as an artist, but there are times where you might just be a mentor to somebody in your specific industry, and it can be rewarding for artists to give back to the community and inspire other aspiring creatives. There are a lot of times where when I first graduated, I did a lot of these talks for free and panels for free, simply because I actually wanted to share my experience and hopefully enlighten people of the newer generations, because I felt like a lot of the advice I was given as an artist in the 2010s was not the same as artists who were from the 1980s, but that was like the only thing out there on the internet that I had access to. So whether it be you just simply providing your experience as an artist or doing talks for free, or whether if you're literally drawing stuff and showing people how to create something for free, there is going to be some benefit in that, especially if you are a new artist who is trying to make a name for themselves. Doing these things for free is sometimes more required if you want to build that name and reputation and have some sort of publicity for yourself. But as time goes on and you do find that you're more limited with your time and you are starting to get paid more for these things, you can start asking for compensation from doing these talks and panels, because you have built that reputation based on all of these things you have offered in the past. So while you may start off providing advice for free or mentoring other aspiring artists for free, it will ultimately help you in the long run because it provides publicity and you become a point of reference that a lot of people will talk about. Because if you've done talks, if you've provided mentorships, and other art students are talking amongst themselves about who to go to for an additional resource, they're going to be pointing at you. So hopefully that could be a nice way of you giving back to your art community, and your art community will give back to you. Of course, remember to clearly communicate your boundaries when you are in these situations, so you're not wasting your time over something that might not help you. The most important thing, of course, is to remember to always provide credit, or put your name in the credits and provide credit when it's due, because it is the bare minimum you can do for yourself and for clients to do for the artists that they work with, and also just as audience members to respect that artists credit and leave watermarks on their work, because there are some people who just simply remove it, and I don't know why people out there would outwardly just go out of their way to remove an artist's credibility to their hard work. But unfortunately, people out there exist. So remember to respect yourself as an artist, but also remember that by doing work for free, it doesn't always mean you're disrespecting yourself, and it could be helping you or another person out there, depending on what it is you're doing. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you would like to be a part of our exclusive community on Patreon, where I share work in progresses, behind the scenes, and even do email consultations for anybody who is interested in receiving feedback, please check that out in the links below. And thank you for watching this video and supporting this channel, and I will see you all in the next one.